This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
Starting off the conversations this morning, we go to this one that says the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, has drawn attention to what it calls a plot by the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, to destabilise Kano State and the entire northern part of the country. The NNPP is also alleging that the APC had attempted to use the courts to overturn the victory of the NNPP at the polls, as well as interfering in the emirate tussle that dethroned former Emir Ado Bayero and reinstated Emir Mohammed Sanusi II. Joining us this morning is the spokesperson of the NNPP's presidential campaign, Mr. Ladipo Johnson. Mr. Johnson, good morning and welcome to the conversation.
Good morning, sir.
To start with, can you give us a brief overview of the NNPP's position as far as Kano State and the APC is concerned?
Yes. Well, we are wondering why the chief executive of the state suddenly has no powers. The commissioner of police refuses to follow directives and does things at times without even informing the governor, the chief security officer of the state. Now, there was a law passed, as we all know, and at the end of the day, it was assented to by the governor. It cancelled the 5 emirates created by the Gandhiji administration and returned it to 1 emirate and returned Emir Sanusi. And after that, Ado Bayero was not even in Kano when it happened. He was brought into Kano under military and police guard. And if Sanusi had not been in the at the palace, then they would have taken him straight into the palace to keep him there. In the circumstances, they took him to one of the guest houses, the other mini palaces in Nasarawa, a local government in Kano. Now, that happened, and we all kept wondering. Then, a spurious, I call it spurious, federal high court order from Justice Lehman, Federal High Court Kano, that stated that it was an ex parte order, and you knew that was what the police commissioner was saying he was acting on. Then, after that, the jurisdiction was challenged. And in actual fact, Justice Lehman, in granting the ex parte order, said he would want to be addressed on his jurisdiction. How do you assume jurisdiction to give an injunction when you are saying they should come and address you on your jurisdiction? That aside, after that, what has happened recently is that they told him, you have no jurisdiction. He ruled that he has jurisdiction, that it was to do with the fundamental rights of the person who got the switch, one of the kingmakers, and Ado Bayero. And we tried to appeal. When I say we, that is the Kano State House of Assembly, Speaker and everything, tried to appeal. They refused to collect the appeal papers at the Federal High Court. When we saw that it was a delay tactic, then it was filed directly at the Court of Appeal, telling them the reasons why it couldn't be filed at the Federal High Court. It's meant to be filed there first. The Court of Appeal took it in, entered the appeal. When we say it is entered, it now had an appeal number. This was brought into the court's file at the Federal High Court. Justice Lehman was told that, Your Lordship, in your file, this matter has gone on to the Court of Appeal. We are asking the Court of Appeal to take over the matter on
Mr.
jurisdiction, etc.
I apologize for interrupting you. I do wonder, right, this statement that your party has put out, should it perhaps not be addressed to the National Judicial Council, which would have the jurisdiction over any sort of inappropriate behavior by the judges?
Nabila,
yes.
Nabila, these things happen all the time in Nigerian politics and what have you, when people are trying to use the judiciary. If you go to the National Judicial Council, will probably take some 3 months before they even open the file. Do you understand? You have to do what you have to do, which includes the discourse we're having at the moment, so that the country knows, so that Nigerians know that some people are trying to use the judiciary. Do you understand? And it will only cause chaos, God forbid.
Yes, and this chaos because you mentioned. In your statement, sir, you do say that you essentially allege that the politics that's being played is aiming to cause a destabilization, or rather violence on a scale that would lead to a declaration of a state of emergency in Kano. And that's a quotation from your statement. It's a very bold accusation, don't you think?
It is a bold accusation. What did you hear in Rivers State yesterday? Remember, Rivers has been warming up. And yesterday, finally, the APC in Rivers are calling for a state of emergency. So we know where they're going. We know what is happening. And ab initio, when the whole thing started, the people of Kano remained peaceful because they know that that is the end game. Now, if Justice Liman goes on today, he is scheduled today for his judgment on the matter, and he now says he has cancelled the new law. It is illegal, blah, 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 blah. There will be chaos because they will now attempt to force Adobayero into the palace, to go in and say, oh, there's a judgment. We want to remove Sanusi from the palace. Where have you seen the military being used for a chieftaincy matter? It's like having a landlord and tenant matter, and you're using the military. And then the presidency is denying it.
And this...
Who is the person that directs or authorizes the use of military men in this country?
You're not wrong, Mr. Johnson. The security affairs do lie in the office with the president himself. This does raise the question, your allegation of looking to declare a state of emergency in Kano, even with Rivers that you mentioned, we've not necessarily heard of the president wading into the matter. Are you saying that outside of what is in the press at the moment, that the president is aware and may be inclined?
What I'm saying is, you recall that the NSA said he wasn't aware about the deployment of the military.
Yes.
Well, they haven't been removed. Now, what we're saying is that if Mr. President is not aware of what is happening in a volatile state, one of the biggest states in his domain, then it is very sad and it shows ineptitude. If he is aware and he does nothing, or he is doing nothing about it to look into it, that's even worse.
Well,
all I am saying, what we are saying, the reason we are crying out is everybody knows that the majority of Kano citizens are supporters of Senator Kwankwaso and the NNPP at the moment. If things get out of hand, do not come looking for the leadership of the party, because we have been sounding out warnings. It is not the party that decided about returning the Emirates to one or returning Emir Sanusi. Every local government that Abba Kabir Yusuf campaigned, the 44 local governments during the elections, they kept demanding it. That if you win, return this Emirates to one and bring back our Emir.
Well,
so that is what we're saying. Those are the warning signs we're pointing people to.
Mr. Johnson, I mean, I would like us to carry on the conversation, but I understand that you are pressed for time. I do want to, however, thank you for joining us on the conversation and sharing your thoughts with us. Ladipo Johnson, spokesperson of the presidential campaign for the New Nigeria People's Party in the 2023 election cycle, joining us to discuss his party, the NNPP, raising an alarm over the politics in Kano at the moment. As you know, there is a tussle over the emirship, the seat of the emir in Kano, and we'll be bringing you updates as we learn of them.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.